Hey guys, welcome to the best minions for each faction in Legends of Runeterra. So without further ado, let's jump into my favorite Shadow Isles. So starting off, this fucker, this pig fuck. He is a ravenous butcher, and he just kills his ally to play him. Now you might think this is terrible, like, oh my god, I have to kill an ally to play him, that's so awful, except for the fact that you've got cards like this guy that summons a Spiderling, this guy that gives you a follower, this guy that makes a 4/4, so he actually has a lot of outlets to kill, and it actually works out. So this card, you're going to be seeing a lot of it in aggro, Shadow Isles aggro, super annoying. Get ready to see it. Now we're going to zip all the way down to the bottom, and we've got these two undead boys here. We got Rasa the Sunderer and Commander Ledros. This guy, once one of your allies dies in a turn, you can play him and he will kill the weakest two enemies. And, that's pretty good. Free 7/5 with Fearsome and get to take out two guys on the enemy team. Hey, that's pretty good, cut and dry. This guy, absolutely nuts. I honestly think he's a little overpowered. I think he might get nerfed before launch. I don't know. But, basically, when he comes into play, he deals half the Nexus's health. So if you're at 20, now you're at 10. If you're at 18, now you're at 9, etc., etc. It does round up, by the way. So, like, if you're at 19, it's going to do 9 instead of, like, 8. And then when he does die, guess what? He goes back into the hand. That's right. He goes right back into the hand. So you're going to have an 8/6, it dies, it goes back in your hand, you can play it again, take away half their health. Stupid. Absolutely stupid, nutty. You're definitely going to see a lot of decks with that Commander Ledros there. Stealthing our way into Ionia, we've got this Green Glade Caretaker. I really like this card because I like to play the Fiora Shen combo here. And this shit just gets absolutely insane. It's only a 1/2 to start off, but whenever it sees someone get barrier, it goes up by 2, and it keeps those stats. So once you start getting Shen, start putting out some more barriers, this thing turns into a monster. It will definitely eat up a spell from your enemy, and, let your Fiora or Shen do whatever they want. Going from there, we have the Shadow Assassin. It's a 2/2 elusive, nothing crazy special, and it draws you a card. Elusive is just great. Not a lot of people run it, and I keep running into full elusive decks, and it is super difficult to deal with. You have to have a lot of spells, a lot of board removal, and if you don't, you just get beat to death. Simple as that. With the added bonus of this lady here draws you a card. Super good, super basic, but super good card. And sliding right down, keeping with the theme of elusive, we've got this 6/5 7-drop elusive. Again, elusive is just good. It's difficult to deal with, and especially a 6/5 requires at least 2 spells or 1 vengeance if you're playing Shadow Isles. But again, super difficult to deal with. Elusive cards, definitely really good. Pick them up as soon as you can. Sliding right along, we got Piltover and Zaun. We've got Eager Apprentice here. This card I've always thought pretty fucking great. A 2/1 that refills 2 spell mana. I mean, that's just free mana. That's good right there. Free 2 spell mana for 2. Going from there, we've got Shady Character. Transform it into a follower. Any follower, so obviously can't copy a champion, but there are a ton of great followers there. Obviously, we just talked about that 8/6 that goes back into the hand, half health the Nexus. This guy can copy that, become that card. Obviously, you can also copy any card on your field as well. Maybe you want 2 Teemos or something. Whatever the case may be, this guy can be whatever you want him to be. And then lastly, we've got this one down here, Cornea Viraza. Discarding the top 5, kinda, iffy, but you're obviously running a lot of spells in Piltover Zaun as they have really great ones. And each one you discard deals 1 to all enemies. So on average, you're probably getting 2 to 3. That's 2 to 3 damage, board wipe kind of stuff. Maybe even get 5, wipe an entire board. She can be super good. Freezing our way into our next one. we got Freljord. Now, this one is tough. There's a lot of really great units in Freljord, another personal favorite of mine. But I'm going to have to start off with our man right here. Giving allies in your deck +1/+1 is just good. It turns those 1/1s into 2/2s, 2/2s into 3/3s. I mean, it really just makes your deck stronger. And it's a 5/5. Simple as that, you know, it's just a good card. Moving down from there, we've got She Who Wanders. Obliterates all followers with 4 or less power in play and in hand. So those aggro decks, stomp the fuck out. Any strong, you know, control cards that have less than 4 power also getting stomped out. Unfortunately, this doesn't hit champions, but again, a 10/10 with that skill is just too much. It's just so good. And then lastly, we got to slide back up, and I got to give it to this Wandering Stone. It's just good. It's a 0/3, you play it on 3, all of a sudden you're on turn 5, and then 6, and it just, free mana is great, and a 0/3 body can obviously block, so, you know, if you're against an aggro deck, you can block 2 damage, maybe they got to burn a spell on it now you're, you know, you're safer to play other stuff. Very, very good card. You'll definitely be seeing quite a bit of it in your games. Slamming our way into Noxus, we've got Precious Pet. Now, I know this doesn't look like much. Everything else is like crazy abilities and all that other shit. But this is a 2/1 fearsome for 1. If you are going first, you play this. Most of the time, people are going to play a 1/1 or a 2/1 in response to this. So it's getting in for 2 damage guaranteed at the start of every game. Definitely a great card for aggro, and that's all kind of Noxus is a lot of aggro cards, so that's basically what we'll be covering here, which is what Crimson Disciple is as well. When she survives, deal 2 damage to the enemy Nexus. This can end up dealing like 4 damage to the enemy Nexus very early on. You know, you play her, attack, somebody makes a trade, they're taking 2, and if they don't trade, they're taking 2 anyways from her hit. Either way, she's dealing 2 damage at the very least, if not 4, if not 6, by the time she dies. So, and lastly, I wanted to talk about this motherfucker right here. Crowd favorite. He comes out of the cut crazy amount of times. As I've said, Noxus an aggro deck, so imagine playing your Precious Pet on 1, your Crimson Disciple on 2, maybe your House Spider on 3. Then you play this guy. Well, guess what? You've got 4 allies on the board. This is a 6/6 Overwhelm on 4. Very difficult to deal with. Definitely going to eat a spell or 2 from your enemies. And he's got Overwhelm. He's going to be doing a lot of damage in that aggro deck, so be on the lookout for that guy. Lastly, back to Demacia. Again, another one with many good cards. But to start off, I want to start on this lady right here. Obviously, a lot of these cards in Demacia are elites, which is very important. You know, it's a whole kind of class within Demacia, elites. And she gives other battling allies +1/+1 and fearsome. Fearsome is kind of difficult to play around, you know. If you have weak little blockers, then all of a sudden this bitch comes down, you're fucked, you're screwed. Plus giving +1/+1 to everyone whenever they attack. Super, super good. So, you know, enough said with that one. She is just real great. Next one I want to talk about is this guy. Doesn't seem that great off the bat. A 4-drop 2/3, that's kind of shitty, but then giving 2/2 to another ally is phenomenal. Playing this onto a champion especially is good. You know, maybe you played Fiora on turn 3, then you make her a 5/5. That's a 5/5 challenger Fiora. That's pretty great. A Zed as well, a 3/2 Zed turning into a 5/4 quick attack Zed. All these type of things can happen with this card. Plus it's a body to have on the board. Super, super great. Lastly, I wanted to talk about this guy. As I mentioned elites earlier, this guy, whenever you summon an elite, grant it +1/+1. Something nice to drop on 2, and then you've got things like this to drop on 3. Now it's a 3/3 with tough. Maybe you drop this guy, he's a 4/4 now, or her. the list goes on and on with these elites. And Elite is definitely going to be a deck that you're going to want to watch out for, like Elite Demacia deck. So, with all that said, keep an eye out for those cards. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Later!